Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever felt like your entire world was falling apart? Your emotions out of control, your beliefs collapsing, and your life spinning like a storm you can't escape? What if I told you this chaos is not the end, but the beginning of your true awakening? The spiritual awakening storm is intense, painful, and confusing, but hidden inside it are the keys to your transformation. In this video, I'll show you how to not just survive the storm, but rise from it stronger, wiser, and more powerful than ever before. The storm within. Ladies and gentlemen, when most people hear the words spiritual awakening, they imagine peace, joy, and light. They think of meditation, calmness, and higher wisdom. And while those are indeed the fruits of awakening, what many don't realize is that the path to this light often begins with a storm that shakes the very foundations of your life, your beliefs, and your identity. This is what I call the spiritual awakening storm. It is not gentle, it is not comfortable, and it is not easy. It feels like your whole world is falling apart. You may question your purpose, your relationships, even your very existence. Things you once believed in may no longer feel true. The life you once knew no longer fits. It feels like you are being stripped bare, with nothing left to hold on to. And yet here lies the truth. This storm is not here to destroy you. It is here to cleanse you. Imagine a forest fire. At first it looks like devastation. Trees fall, smoke rises, and the landscape seems ruined. But hidden within that fire is rebirth. The flames burn away the dead wood, the weeds, and the clutter, leaving the soil rich and fertile for new life to grow. In the same way, the awakening storm burns away the illusions, the false identities, and the limiting beliefs that kept you small. What feels like loss is actually preparation for renewal. This storm is the breaking of the old self, the self that was built on fear, on conditioning, on seeking approval, and on living in autopilot. And while the process feels painful, it is necessary. Because without the storm, you would remain asleep, comfortable in a cage that you didn't even realize was holding you. The awakening storm may show up as confusion, as emotional upheaval, as a deep restlessness that makes you feel out of place in your own life. You may feel like everything familiar is slipping away, but let me tell you this, you are not losing yourself. You are losing only the false self, so that the true self, the soul, can finally rise. And this is why you must not fear the storm. Yes, it is intense. Yes, it will test you, but it is also sacred. It is the hand of the divine rearranging your life, shaking you awake, and preparing you to step into a higher version of yourself. So as we begin this journey together, remember, the storm within you is not a curse. It is a blessing in disguise. It is the doorway to transformation. Surviving it will not only lead you to peace, it will reveal to you the strength, wisdom, and light that has always been hidden inside. Understanding the awakening storm. To survive the awakening storm, you must first understand what it really is. Too often, people mistake this period of chaos for failure, depression, or even punishment. But in truth, the awakening storm is none of those things. It is the process of your old self unraveling so that your true self can emerge. Think of it like this. When a house is built on a weak foundation, cracks eventually appear. The walls may look strong from the outside, but inside, the structure is unstable. If you want to rebuild that house properly, the old weak foundation must first be broken down. In the same way, the storm comes to expose the cracks in your life. The false beliefs, the unhealthy attachments, the fears, and the illusions you've been carrying for years. At first, it feels like everything is collapsing, but in reality, the storm is clearing the ground so you can build your life on truth. This is why awakening feels uncomfortable. The things you once clung to no longer give you peace. Old friendships may feel out of alignment. Work that once motivated you may now feel empty. Habits that numbed you no longer satisfy you. It's as though the universe is gently but firmly removing the things that no longer serve your soul's growth. And while it feels like loss, it is actually protection. You are being guided away from what holds you back and toward what sets you free. The awakening storm also stirs your emotions. You may feel sadness, anger, or confusion more intensely than before. That's because suppressed feelings are rising to the surface to be released. Don't mistake this for weakness, it's cleansing. Just as the thunderstorm clears the air, emotional storms clear your heart and mind, making room for clarity and light. Understanding the storm also means realizing that you are not broken. You are not going backward, you are evolving. The storm is evidence that your soul is alive, that it refuses to stay trapped in illusions, and that it is demanding a deeper, truer way of living. Many people live their entire lives without awakening, staying comfortable but unfulfilled. If you are in the storm, it means you are among the few who are being called higher. And perhaps the most important thing to understand is this: the storm is temporary. Just as night always turns to dawn, the chaos of awakening eventually gives way to peace. When the storm passes, you find yourself stronger, freer, and more connected to your soul than ever before. So instead of fearing it, try to reframe it. See the awakening storm as a divine intervention, a necessary cleansing, a breaking down of walls so that truth can enter. The more you understand its purpose, the less power it has to scare you. And when you see it for what it truly is, you no longer feel like a victim of the storm. You become a survivor, and ultimately a transformer of it, accepting the turbulence. One of the greatest lessons in surviving the spiritual awakening storm is learning to accept the turbulence rather than resist it. When the winds of change blow through your life, your natural instinct may be to fight, to hold on tightly to the familiar, and to pray that things go back to the way they were. But here's the truth: resisting the storm only makes it more painful. Acceptance is what brings peace. Imagine being caught in strong ocean waves. If you struggle against the water, flailing and panicking, you exhaust yourself and risk drowning. But if you lean back, float, and allow the current to carry you, you eventually find your way back to shore with less struggle. The same principle applies to awakening. Fighting the turbulence drains you, but acceptance carries you through with greater ease. Accepting turbulence doesn't mean you enjoy it or pretend it doesn't hurt. It simply means you stop seeing it as your enemy. Instead, you begin to view it as a teacher, a guide, even a sacred force, shaping you into who you are meant to become. When you tell yourself, "This storm is not happening to me, it is happening for me," your entire perspective shifts. Suddenly, the chaos becomes meaningful. The pain becomes purposeful. Many people delay their awakening because they resist the discomfort. They cling to old relationships that no longer nurture them. They force themselves to stay in jobs that drain their spirit, or they numb themselves with distractions just to avoid facing the truth. But the more you resist, the longer the storm lasts. Acceptance is like opening the door and allowing the wind to blow through, clearing away what no longer belongs. In practical terms, acceptance means allowing yourself to feel. If sadness arises, let yourself cry without shame. If anger surfaces, acknowledge it without judgment. If confusion overwhelms you, sit with it rather than forcing quick answers. The turbulence is not here to destroy you, it is here to clear emotional and spiritual blockages. By accepting it, you allow healing to begin. Acceptance also means trusting that the storm is temporary. You don't need to control every outcome or know every answer right away. Trust that life is unfolding exactly as it should, even if you don't yet understand the bigger picture. Just as turbulence on an airplane is a temporary part of the journey, the storm of awakening is a temporary stage on the path to your higher self. So when the storm rages inside you, instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" try asking, "What is this teaching me? What part of me is being strengthened, healed, or reborn?" This mindset transforms suffering into growth. Remember this: storms only break what is weak. They purify and prepare. If you are facing turbulence, it is because your soul is strong enough to endure it and wise enough to grow from it. By accepting the storm, you align yourself with the flow of awakening. And that alignment is what transforms chaos into clarity, managing overwhelming emotions. One of the most intense parts of the spiritual awakening storm is the flood of emotions that seem to rise out of nowhere. Feelings you thought you had buried long ago, sadness, anger, fear, guilt, grief, suddenly return with a force that can feel overwhelming. It's as if the storm has opened a floodgate inside you and the waves just keep coming. Many people ask, why am I feeling so much? What's wrong with me? But here's the truth, nothing is wrong with you. In fact, this emotional intensity is proof that something very right is happening. Your soul is healing. For years, most of us learn to suppress our emotions. Society often teaches us to be strong, move on, or don't cry. We numb ourselves with work, entertainment, or distractions, believing that ignoring pain will make it disappear. But emotions don't vanish simply because we avoid them. They settle deep inside, stored in the body and subconscious, quietly weighing us down. During spiritual awakening, all that suppressed energy begins to rise to the surface. And while it feels chaotic, this process is deeply cleansing. The key to surviving this stage is learning how to manage overwhelming emotions with compassion rather than resistance. First, allow yourself to feel without judgment. If tears come, let them flow. If anger arises, acknowledge it instead of shaming yourself. Emotions are like waves. They peak, crash, and then pass. When you let them move naturally, they lose their power to control you. Suppressing them only keeps the storm raging longer. Second, practice grounding techniques when emotions feel too heavy. Something as simple as deep breathing, placing your hand on your heart, or walking barefoot on the earth can bring you back to the present moment. The storm of emotions belongs to the past and future, regrets that hurt you or fears that haunt you. But when you grew and yourself in now, the waves begin to calm. Third, give your emotions expression in healthy ways. Write in a journal, paint, create music, or speak your truth to someone you trust. Expression is release, and release is healing. When emotions have no outlet, they become pressure inside you. But when you honor them with expression, they transform into wisdom. It's also important to practice self-compassion during this stage. Do not call yourself weak for feeling deeply. Do not compare your journey to others who seem more in control. Everyone's storm looks different, and your emotions are not flaws. They are signals, guiding you toward areas of your life that need attention and love. Lastly, remember that emotions are temporary. The sadness you feel today will not last forever. The fear that shakes you now will eventually pass. Every emotion has a beginning, a middle, and an end. When you understand this, you stop fearing the waves. You learn to ride them, knowing that peace always follows. So if you are overwhelmed by emotions, know this: you are not breaking down, you are breaking free. Your soul is releasing the weight it has carried for years, making space for peace, clarity, and joy. The storm of emotions is not a curse, it is your cleansing. And when it passes, you will stand lighter, freer, and more alive than ever before. The power of solitude. When the storm of awakening rages around you, one of the greatest refuges you can find is solitude. Solitude is not loneliness. It is sacred space. It is the safe harbor where your soul finds rest, where the noise of the world fades, and where the whispers of your inner truth can finally be heard. In the middle of chaos, solitude becomes your anchor. During awakening, you may begin to notice a shift. Social gatherings that once energized you may now drain you. Conversations filled with gossip, drama, or superficial talk may leave you restless. Instead, you feel pulled towards silence, reflection, or being alone in nature. This is not you becoming antisocial or distant. It is your spirit realigning. Your soul no longer craves noise. It craves clarity. Think of solitude as medicine. Just as the body needs sleep to heal, the soul needs silence to grow. In solitude, you begin to process the emotions, insights, and changes that awakening brings. Without it, you remain overstimulated, scattered, and unable to truly integrate what you're experiencing. With it, the pieces of your inner puzzle begin to fit together. History shows us that some of the greatest spiritual teachers and thinkers understood the power of solitude. Prophets, mystics, poets, and philosophers often withdrew into silence, not to escape the world, but to hear the truth within themselves. In solitude, they discovered wisdom, clarity, and strength that no crowd could provide. The same gift is available to you. But here's the key. Solitude is not about isolation or rejection. It's not about cutting yourself off from life or people. It's about choosing intentional space for self-discovery. It's about saying, right now, I need to reconnect with myself before I can connect with the world. This balance between solitude and connection is what gives you the resilience to survive the storm. In solitude, you also begin to realize that you are never truly alone. As you sit in silence, you may feel the presence of your soul more strongly. You may sense the energy of the universe, the embrace of nature, or even the nearness of the divine. What once felt like emptiness transforms into fullness. You realize that solitude is not the absence of company. It is the presence of yourself, your truth, and your higher guidance. Practically, you can create solitude by carving out small moments each day. Even 10 minutes of sitting quietly with your breath, walking in nature without distractions, or journaling your thoughts can open the door to deeper peace. Over time, these moments accumulate, creating inner strength that helps you withstand the fiercest storms. So if you find yourself longing for solitude, don't fight it and don't feel guilty for it. This desire is not weakness, it is wisdom. Your soul is asking for space to heal, to realign, and to recharge. Trust it, protect it, honor it. Because in the end, solitude is not an escape from life. It is preparation for life. It is in the stillness that your soul gathers strength, and with that strength, you will not only survive the storm, you will rise above it, trusting your intuition. In the middle of the spiritual awakening storm, one of the most valuable tools you have is your intuition. When everything around you feels uncertain, when old beliefs are collapsing, and when the path ahead seems foggy, intuition becomes your compass. It is the quiet inner voice that whispers, "Go this way. Trust this step. Let this go." And while the world outside may confuse you, your intuition never lies. Intuition is not about logic, reasoning, or hard evidence. It is deeper than thought. It is knowing. It comes from the soul, from the timeless part of you that can see beyond the limitations of the mind. This is why, during awakening, you may suddenly find yourself relying less on what others say and more on what your heart feels. Decisions that once seemed complicated may become simpler, not because circumstances change, but because you've started listening to your inner wisdom. The storm often brings moments of doubt. You may question yourself, fear making the wrong choices, or feel paralyzed between multiple options. But this is where intuition steps in. Unlike fear, which screams and demands attention, intuition is gentle. It nudges you, it whispers, it feels like a subtle pull in a certain direction. The more you listen, the stronger it becomes. The more you ignore it, the quieter it gets. Think of intuition like a lighthouse during a stormy night. The waves may be rough, the sky may be dark, but the steady beam of light keeps guiding the ship to safety. In the same way, intuition cuts through confusion and shows you the next step, even if it doesn't reveal the entire journey. You may not see the whole path, but you see enough to move forward with faith. Trusting your intuition also requires courage, because often it will guide you away from what is comfortable and toward what is true. It may tell you to leave a job that drains your soul, even if it provides security. It may push you to walk away from relationships that no longer align, even if it's difficult. It may encourage you to pursue dreams that seem impossible, even if others don't understand. Following intuition means trusting that your soul knows the way, even when logic cannot explain it. So how do you strengthen this inner compass? By creating space to listen. Silence, meditation, journaling, and time in nature all help you connect with your intuition. Pay attention to your body as well. Intuition often speaks through feelings. That tightness in your chest, that unease in your stomach, or that spark of excitement, these are signals guiding you. Above all, trust yourself. You don't need validation from the outside world to confirm what your soul already knows. Remember, intuition is the voice of your higher self, and it will never lead you astray. In the storm of awakening, intuition is your anchor. When the winds howl and the waves crash, trust that quiet inner voice. It is your lighthouse, your compass, your guide. If you follow it with faith, it will lead you safely through the storm and into the calm that waits beyond, grounding yourself in the present. One of the greatest challenges of the spiritual awakening storm is the way it pulls your mind in every direction. You may find yourself replaying the past, dwelling on regrets, or questioning every choice you've ever made. At the same time, fear of the future may overwhelm you. What will happen to me? Where am I going? Will I ever feel normal again? The storm can leave you lost in a whirlwind of what was and what will be. But here is the key to survival: grounding yourself in the present moment. The present is your anchor. Right here, right now, in this breath, in this moment, you are safe. You are alive. You are not your past mistakes, and you are not your future worries. You are here. And when you learn to return to this truth, the storm begins to lose its power over you. Think of it like standing in a hurricane. The winds are wild, the noise is deafening, but if you can find a solid tree to hold on to, you will not be blown away. The present moment is that tree. It is your unshakable foundation. While the mind races and the storm swirls, the now is still, steady, and unchanging. Grounding yourself can be simple, yet powerful. Start with your breath. Close your eyes and take a deep inhale, feeling your lungs expand, and then exhale slowly, releasing tension. Breath is life, and it always exists in the present. By focusing on it, you bring yourself back from the chaos of past and future into the calm of now. Another way to ground yourself is through your senses. Notice the feel of the ground beneath your feet, the texture of something you touch, the sounds around you, or the colors you see. Each sense pulls you into the moment, reminding you that the present is where life truly happens. Nature, too, is a powerful grounding force. Walk barefoot on the grass, sit beneath a tree, or listen to the rhythm of flowing water. The earth has a way of absorbing your scattered energy and returning you to balance. This is why so many spiritual traditions encourage connecting with nature. It realigns you with the eternal present. Grounding is not about ignoring your past or denying your future. It's about refusing to let them control you. The past has already happened. The future has not yet arrived. The only place where healing, clarity, and peace can exist is here, in this moment. So when the storm of awakening pulls you into fear or regret, pause. Breathe. Look around. Remind yourself, I am here. I am safe. I am present. This simple practice may not stop the storm, but it will stop you from being swept away by it. The more you practice grounding, the stronger your presence becomes. And presence is power. Because when you are fully rooted in the now, no storm, no matter how fierce, can uproot you, seeking support and connection. When you are caught in the storm of spiritual awakening, it can sometimes feel like you are all alone. The people around you may not understand what you are going through. Friends may say, "You've changed," or dismiss your inner struggles as being too sensitive or overthinking. And because awakening is such a personal and deeply inward journey, the temptation is to isolate yourself completely. But one of the keys to surviving the storm is seeking support and connection with the right people. Every storm is easier to endure when you have shelter, and in the same way, awakening becomes more bearable when you have souls around you who remind you that you are not crazy, not broken, and not alone. This support can come in many forms. It might be a trusted friend who listens without judgment, offering compassion instead of criticism. It may be a spiritual community, whether in person or online, where people share similar experiences and can reassure you that what you're feeling is part of the journey. It could also be a mentor, guide, or teacher who has walked the path before you and can offer wisdom to light your way. Connection is powerful because awakening often dismantles the structures of your old life. Old relationships may fall away, old interests may no longer resonate, and that can leave you feeling lost. But seeking connection with souls who align with your growth helps you rebuild. It gives you encouragement when you feel weak and perspective when you feel overwhelmed. Sometimes just hearing someone say, "I've been there too, and I made it through," can give you the strength to keep going. At the same time, seeking support also means setting boundaries with those who drain or discourage you. Not everyone will understand your journey, and that's okay. Awakening is not about convincing others, it's about protecting your energy. So, round yourself with those who nurture your growth, and limit time with those who constantly pull you back into negativity. If you cannot find immediate support around you, remember that connection doesn't always mean physical presence. Books, podcasts, or inspirational videos from spiritual teachers can serve as companions on your journey. Even the words of ancient wisdom can feel like a guiding hand in the storm. Most importantly, seeking support does not mean you are weak. It means you are wise. The strongest trees survive storms not because they stand alone, but because their roots intertwine with others, creating a network of strength. Likewise, you are not meant to endure this storm entirely by yourself. By reaching out, you allow love, encouragement, and guidance to flow into your life. So if you are walking through the awakening storm, open yourself to connection. Share your truth with those who can hold it gently. Ask for help when the burden feels too heavy, and trust that the universe will send the right people into your path at the right time. Because while the storm is yours to walk through, you never have to walk through it alone. Discovering the hidden blessings. When you are in the middle of the spiritual awakening storm, it can feel impossible to see any good in it. The confusion, the loss, the emotional upheaval, it all seems like suffering without purpose. But here's the deeper truth. Every storm carries hidden blessings. What feels like destruction is often preparation. What feels like loss is often transformation. And what feels like an ending is, in reality, the beginning of something greater. Think about how storms in nature work. Heavy rains may flood the land, winds may shake the trees, and lightning may split the skies. Yet after the storm passes, the earth is renewed. The rain nourishes the soil, the broken branches make room for new growth, and the air feels fresher and cleaner than before. In the same way, the storm of awakening cleanses your inner world, making space for new life to grow within you. One hidden blessing is the discovery of resilience. You realize that you are far stronger than you ever imagined. The storm may bend you, it may even break parts of you, but it does not destroy you. Instead, it reveals your unshakable core. Every tear, every moment of fear becomes proof of your endurance. You come out knowing, if I can survive this, I can survive anything. Another blessing is clarity. Awakening strips away the illusions you once lived by. It shows you what truly matters and what never did. You begin to see through the masks, your own and those of others. Relationships reveal their true nature, priorities shift, and suddenly the things you thought were important, money, approval, status, fade in comparison to peace, love, and authenticity. That clarity is priceless. The storm also awakens compassion. When you've walked through darkness yourself, you begin to see others with softer eyes. You understand pain more deeply, and that understanding transforms into empathy. Why? I'll no longer judge as harshly, because you know how heavy invisible battles can be. This compassion becomes a gift you carry, a light you can share with others still lost in their storms. And perhaps the greatest hidden blessing of all is purpose. Awakening storms often redirect you, pulling you away from paths that don't serve your soul and guiding you toward the ones that do. You may lose a job, a relationship, or an old identity. But in its place, you discover what your heart has been longing for all along, your true calling. Without the storm, you may never have had the courage to change. So while the storm feels harsh, it is, in truth, a sacred teacher. It tears down walls that confined you and opens doors you never knew existed. It shows you the depth of your strength, the purity of your heart, and the vastness of your potential. If you are in the storm right now, look closely. Beneath the chaos, blessings are unfolding. The storm is not taking life from you. It is giving you life. And when you finally step out of its winds, you will see the storm was never against you. It was always for you. Conclusion: rising after the storm. Every storm has a purpose. It comes not to destroy, but to transform. And the spiritual awakening storm is no different. Yes, it is intense. Yes, it can shake the very ground you stand on. But the truth is this: no storm lasts forever. And when it passes, you do not come out the same person who entered it. You emerge stronger, clearer, and more alive than ever before. The awakening storm is your soul's way of washing away what no longer serves you. It strips off the illusions, the masks, the unhealthy attachments, and the fears that held you captive. It feels like loss, but in reality, it is liberation. You are being set free from the false self so you can rise into the truth of who you are meant to be. When you survive the storm, you realize something profound. You were never truly broken. You were being broken open. Like a seed buried in the soil, you had to crack open for your inner light to emerge. The storm was the rain and thunder that awakened your potential. And now you rise, not in spite of the storm, but because of it. Rising after the storm means stepping into a new chapter of your life with wisdom you did not have before. You now know what matters and what does not. You carry compassion where once you carried judgment. You choose peace over chaos, authenticity over appearances, and love over fear. Your life takes on a new rhythm, slower, deeper, more aligned with your soul. But perhaps the greatest gift of surviving the storm is the realization that you are never truly alone. Through the turbulence, you discover the presence of your intuition, the strength of your spirit, and the guidance of the divine walking beside you. You see that even in your darkest hours, light was always there, sometimes as a flicker, sometimes as a blaze, leading you through. And now, as you stand beyond the storm, the world needs your light. Bekasalte. Use your survival is not just for you, it is for everyone you will inspire, for everyone you will comfort, and for everyone who is still caught in their own awakening storms. Your story becomes their hope. Your strength becomes their reminder that storms do not last forever. So, my friend, embrace this truth. The storm was never your enemy. It was your awakening. It was your rebirth. And now it is your time to rise. Rise with courage. Rise with compassion. Rise with purpose. And remember these words. The storm did not come to break you. It came to prepare you for the sunlight. You are not a victim of the storm. You are the survivor, the student, and the reborn soul that rose from it. Your awakening is the light the world is waiting for. Shine it boldly. Ladies and gentlemen, as we reach the end of this journey, remember this. Every storm you face in life, especially the spiritual awakening storm, is not here to destroy you. It is here to awaken you. The chaos you feel is not the end of your story, but the breaking of the old so the new can be born. Storms strip away what no longer serves you and prepare you for a life of truth, freedom, and alignment. Yes, the awakening storm shakes you. It unsettles everything you thought was certain. It brings emotions to the surface, disrupts relationships, and forces you to question everything you believed. But behind all this turbulence lies a sacred purpose: to reveal the real you, the version of yourself that is not chained by fear, not defined by society, and not limited by the past. When you survive this storm, you discover strength you never knew you had. You realize you are capable of standing tall, even when everything around you seems to fall apart. You learn that peace is not found in avoiding storms, but in walking through them with courage and faith. And as the winds settle, you come to understand the truth. The storm was your teacher, your purifier, your rebirth. Rising after the storm, you carry with you a heart that is softer, yet stronger. You carry compassion for others because you know what it feels like to break. You carry wisdom because you've walked through confusion and found clarity on the other side. You carry purpose because now you know life is not about surviving in fear, but about living in alignment with love. Most importantly, you carry light. And that light is not just for you, it is for the world. Your journey, your resilience, your survival becomes an inspiration to others who are still caught in their own storms. When you share your light, you remind them that storms do not last forever, and that after the darkest night always comes the sunrise. So, if you are in the storm right now, hold on, breathe, trust. This is not your ending, it is your becoming. And if you have already walked through it, then rise with courage and live as a beacon for others. Because the truth is this: storms don't come to break you. They come to awaken you. They come to shape you into the person you were always meant to be. The storm did not come to end you. It came to transform you. You are not defined by the storm you endured, but by the light you discovered within it. Your awakening is the world's hope. Shine your light, because someone out there needs it tonight.